And next, I'd like to bring out our first experience maker to take the stage at Summit. So please join me in welcoming the Managing Director of Tourism Australia, John O'Sullivan.
That's not a knife. That's a knife. That's me.
Brian Dundee?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Why do you keep saying really?
You right there, mate?
Nothing to see here, man. Just getting a clean shave with my machete.
See you next week, Barry. You know, when your dad did it, he was much...
Okay, and when my dad told me about this, he was just like, yeah, I just came up and he did this, okay?
I just don't think he can see you from back here.
Not a lot of crocs out here, huh?
It's just 37,000 miles of pristine, beautiful beach, mate. Did you know that Australia makes some of the finest wines in the entire world?
No, I didn't know that.
Thank you very much.
Wait, hold up. This isn't a movie.
No.
It's a tourism ad for Australia.
Yes. But listen, you're the best Crocodile Dundee since Crocodile Dundee.
Really?
Yes, really. And we had the best trip ever, didn't we?
It was pretty sweet.
Hey, you know, there are some great flight deals to Australia right now.
Dude, I get it. It's not a movie, it's a commercial.
All right.
Thank you.
So John, welcome to Summit.
Great to be here, Brad.
So the first thing that I just need to ask right up front, I mean, how do we get that movie to actually be made?
Well, look, I've spent the last 12 months understanding the movie business, and I can tell you that it's an interesting industry to be part of. And I think, you know, what's been really good about this campaign has it's really sparked that desire to see this film rebooted. And one of our partners in Australia News Corporation actually ran a petition in Australia to get it made. We saw an example of a community up in far north Queensland called Townsville start a GoFundMe page as well to get the movie made. So, you know, who knows? One thing about Hollywood, you never say never, and the response has been amazing. And great thing is we have the script rights. Fantastic.
So, John, I'm probably not the only one, but when I saw the ad for the first time, I knew you guys were making it because we'd been working with you on it. But when I was watching the Super Bowl, literally halfway through the ad, I'm like, this movie's going to be great. The machete. Like I was with you, and then I realized it was the ad that I knew about. So I think we should just add to the GoFundMe page right here at Summit. Let's get this Dundee movie off the ground.
Let's go. Let's get the hashtag going. Bring back Dundee. Get everyone to sign up. Leave contributions at the door. Lisa Ronson, our Chief Marketing Officer, is presenting later on during the course of the summit. So if you see her with donations, I'm sure they'll be gladly accepted.
Good. So John, tell us a little bit about Tourism Australia, what the company, the organization's all about. I mean, relatively straightforward, but just let's set some context.
Yeah, so the context of our organisation, we are responsible for brand Australia to consumers around the world. And our really clear purpose, our marketing purpose, if you like, is really about inviting people to experience the Australian way of life. And we do that by bringing campaigns like Dundee to the screens around the world. We also do it through working with our airline partners, through travel agents and others. And really it's about, you know, our vision is to make Australia the most desirable and memorable destination on the planet. And that goes to two things, right? It goes to about first-time visitors, which is desirability, and repeat visitation, which is about memorability. So, you know, in a nutshell, we're there to get people to come visit to Australia.
And so share a little bit about the idea of this campaign. This was a big, I would say, entrance into the US market. I saw in one article, it was a $30 million campaign from creative to the media. Talk a little bit about how you, as the managing director, said, hey, we're going to go do this and go after it this way.
Well, I think there was a great quote before, wasn't there, about creativity, great creativity with a clear purpose. And our clear purpose was really about addressing a conversion challenge that we have in the North American market. We know that in North America that Australia is one of those destinations that's on everyone's bucket list. But when it comes to conversion, we lose share to markets like Europe particularly, but also markets with a similar distance like Japan. So we wanted to address that by having a really singular focus on the market. And we hadn't done that since about 1986 when we had the Paul Hogan Come Say G'day ads, which were a huge success in this market. And we looked at what was the best platform, best media platform we could use to launch that campaign in this market. And it was clearly Super Bowl. And the facts are that the Super Bowl took us to 50% of our target audience, that high-value traveller, in one foul swoop. So for us, it was a no-brainer of a platform, but we then had to have the strong creative idea, which our marketing team, led by Lisa, and also our creative agency, Droga 5, came to the fore with. And we know that this gives us an opportunity to go back to a concept that we know North Americans love, but then pivot to the new Australia and talk about some of the new attributes and experiences of the country.
So, a really compelling campaign, and I think that the Super Bowl was there, but then there were a whole bunch of other channels where, views and engagement, because, I know that Tourism Australia has been investing a lot in digital engagement platforms, and particularly around data. And we're talking a lot, John, here at Summit about data, and maybe just talk a little bit about your approach, how you think about that, and the engagement that drives with your customer.
Well, I've explained to the audience about what our marketing purpose is, and that is about, frankly, getting people to get on planes and aircraft and getting to Australia. And since 2014, we've been on a very long digital transformation journey, which you guys have been a really core part of. And really what it's about is using data to be more efficient and more effective. If we know through our digital channels that you're searching for Melbourne, we don't want to, through our airline partners, we don't want to serve you up ads for Adelaide or Darwin. As good as those destinations are, we know that that's not what you want. But in addition, if we know that once you've booked to come to Australia, equally we don't want to be serving you up content that is telling you, hey, come to Australia, because we want to be actually then helping you make that experience so much better. And we heard Shartanu talk about his experience before. This is done with very little notice, very little time, often now, more often than not, through independent travellers as well. So we're using our data and our analytics to really help that journey become more efficient and more effective.
And it's one, you talk about that. In Tourism Australia, I've been to your office in Sydney, and it's a small and mighty team. So you don't have hundreds of people who can go do this and that. How have you engaged each one of your employees in this digital transformation journey, and how have you gone about organizing that?
Well, it started with the whole concept that we've really worked upon about putting the customer at the center of everything we do, and that's been a really, really big part of our mantra, if you like, in going on this journey. And I think for us, technology helps us do that. And I gave you some examples before, but we've really then empowered our marketing teams to use our technology and to use our analytics in a way that helps them make their job easier. 80% of our marketing team has access to Adobe Analytics, and that's from the executive right through down to the relevant interns. And so we're using those insights to really help us make better decisions. And I think, the other thing for us, it's been about a cultural journey. It's been really about empowerment, yes, but also two of our cultural values about being commercial, and I talked about efficiency and effectiveness, but also being innovative, and that gets to the heart of our digital transformation as well. And that's been really important, and the final part has been the partners we work with and how we work with them now. So now, with our airline partners, we are really, really focused on how can we both share data with one another to make that experience for those customers a lot more enhanced.
Well, and you think the enhancements, and we talk about consistent and continuous experiences as you go from the website to an app. But the interesting thing about Tourism Australia, ultimately your product is a very analog experience. You want people to come to Australia. So what are different technologies or trends that you think about for how to have digital engagement, but to the physical and the digital and bringing that together?
Well, I like to describe Tourism Australia as a platform for the industry back home. We don't actually sell hotel rooms. We don't sell, we don't own aircraft. Different things like that. But we are a platform to the rest of the world for this great industry back home. And I think the technologies that are really exciting us at the moment are things which make that customer journey a lot easier. Things like the realities. We used virtual reality now for the last almost 3 years now. We've been using that with travel agents overseas and the industry back home. We think there's a big future in voice-activated technology. We love augmented reality as well. And then when you go further forward, you look at some of the technological advancements that our partners are using. You know, Qantas just launched the first non-stop flight from mainland Australia to the United Kingdom over the course of the weekend. And that's a massive breakthrough in this consumer psychology about Australia, that we're a far away place to get to and that you can't get there without going.
That was Perth to London, right?
Perth to London, 17 hours. But what's exciting is not so much about the fact that this aircraft can make the distance. It's actually what's on board the aircraft. You know, it's about the humidity, it's about the lighting, the colour of the lighting, it's about what's in the food on board that you get on the aircraft, which makes that experience all the more better for the consumer. And we know that there's aircraft in the next few years that will be able to go from east coast of Australia to east coast of the US, which I think will be great.
So maybe, you know, a New York to Sydney flight.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You know?
Hopefully all the advancements you're talking about, humidity and everything else, helps with the jet lag, because that could be pretty brutal.
No, jet lag's easy. You just gotta sleep when you're tired and eat good food, and you'll be fine.
And I'll be fine. All right. There, you heard it right here. It's that easy.
It is that easy.
So John, really just a powerful transformation story. But I do have one super hard-hitting question for you as I'm reflecting back on this campaign. So, how well do you know Chris Hemsworth?
Look, well, I was just talking to him before I came on. He's actually.
Wait, you have his phone number?
I may do. I'm not going to confirm or deny that. But he's actually watching it on streaming. Everyone wave and say, "Hey, Chris."
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris, if you're tuned in, it's actually funny. Like, when I watch Thor, it's like I'm looking in the mirror, our physique, and like...
He said he actually...
You and me.
He said actually he wanted to talk to you about casting you as the next Captain America, but, you know, I don't know if that works or not.
I have to get up earlier every morning to do that. But hey, John, thank you for joining us.
Before you finish, I've got a couple of hard-hitting questions for you.
Oh, okay. Wow. This is off script, in case anyone is wondering.
Very, very quickly, because I know time's up. But I understand that you went on a holiday recently.
Uh-huh.
And you spent a little bit of time in Australia, but the majority of your time in what country?
New Zealand.
Okay, bad answer. And during that time, the weather was particularly bad, I understand.
It rained a little bit.
Well, look, for the next time you go to New Zealand, I've got you an umbrella. For anyone that goes to New Zealand, these are essential.
Thank you.
That's Australia. New Zealand, you need that. Now, the other thing is as well, Brad has picked up Australian slang, and do you want to explain to the audience your favourite clothing item for Australia is the budgie smuggler?
Do I want to explain what that means?
Well, look, don't explain what you mean, but I'll leave it to their imagination. I've got you a new pair. Red, white, and blue, which is the American colour, so Captain America theme.
Wow.
I hope the sizing's okay, but good stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, John O'Sullivan. Thank you, John.